We are continuing along with our fall spectacular menu here, and of course we have to have some type of butternut squash soup. And obviously there are so many variations of butternut squash soup, but this one here today is going to be with butternut squash, apple, sage. Those are kind of the primary flavors. Obviously celery, carrots, onion, and then also a great garnish. So one thing I feel like when you have pureed soups, you really want to make sure that there's some kind of garnish on top of the soup, because otherwise it looks like baby food. And then you also want to make sure that the soup is pureed enough that you don't feel like it's baby food. Like it has to be kind of, pureed a fair amount. All right, so in order to get started with this soup, I already roasted the squash. So you can see here is the squash. Okay, I actually cut it in half, kind of through the middle, just so it would be easier to handle and chop. I seasoned it really well with salt and pepper and brown sugar. And there's all this kind of like yummy, kind of glaze here, which I'm definitely want to make sure that we get that in the soup as well. So this will get scooped up. But in the meantime, before we start on that particular part, we have to start on cooking our base, which every soup is a base of, celery, carrots, and onion, at least most soups anyway. Yeah, we're on. So we have our celery, carrots, and onion right here. And it is generally with most soups, it's going to be a combination of, I'll turn this on here. It's going to be like usually 2 parts onion to 1 part celery and 1 part carrots, or 2 part onion to 1 part carrots, 1 part peppers, or whichever it may be. But generally it's 2 times the amount of onion, okay, comparatively to anything else. So for this particular recipe, we're going to have 2 cups of onion. Just 1 cup here. 1 more cup of onion here. I get them. It's one thing about chopped onions; they definitely kind of have a mind of their own and like to go everywhere. So with our 1 cup of celery, yep, that was about 2 long celery stalks there. And then 1 cup of carrots. Double check, I think we have kind of the right amount of carrots here. Sorry, I'm kind of making a mess. I should have been a little more organized. Life, right? It's okay. All good. Okay, so that's just about a cup of carrots there. A little shy, but that's okay. Totally fine. Plenty. Okay. So, one thing with this is that we really want to get this, kind of softened, get it going right away. So one thing I'm going to do is going to add some salt right away, because what the salt will do is that the salt will pull out the moisture of the dish. Okay, it'll help pull out all that kind of flavor there. So excuse me. I'm gonna grab the salt here. How about that? So a little bit of salt just to kind of get that going. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So that salt again will pull the moisture out of the vegetables and let it kind of cook along. So we're gonna give these some time here. In the meantime, we're going to chop up some sage. This particular recipe, in this situation, I definitely recommend the fresh sage. I mean, it really, has such a nice distinct flavor. It tastes great. So I definitely kind of recommend the fresh sage. So this is sage here. I'm just going to kind of gently roll it up. I kind of stacked the leaves as best as I could. And remember our kind of motion here, that forward and down, right? Forward and down, not a huge kind of, stalling motion here, just nice and gentle, right? So a little bit more, just chop it up. All right. Just want to check our equivalents here for how much that's. I'd say about a generous tablespoon there. Let me just confer with our recipe exactly how much we need. So a little bit more. So we're going to keep going. A little more sage. Sage is definitely one of those amazing, wonderful fall smells that you absolutely know that it's fall when you smell that sage, right? It's so, wonderful use with turkey, in gravies, like chicken saltimbocca. That lovely Italian dish uses fresh sage as well. So, okay. Smells good. Let's give these another stir here to see how we're doing. Fine, it looks good. And actually, you know, at this point, when you're making soups like this, you want to keep it like, you know, medium heat. You can just put a lid on it, right? So you can just grab the lid, and we'll put the lid right on top and let the moisture from the, you know, that's going to develop in the pan on the top of this lid here just continue to cook. So cover that up for a little bit. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, so let's take a look here. So this has been going for a little bit, not too long. We got to keep it going. Because really it's the carrots. The carrots are so dense, they have to cook for a while. Controlling the heat on this burner is like not super easy. It's pretty good, but you can see it's getting a little brown on the bottom, which is fine. I mean, don't worry too much about that. That happens to you. It's just going to add more flavor. So the sage, it's not burned, right? So we're okay. So we're going to add the sage and the thyme. This is something where I do feel like fresh herbs make a difference. I am a big fan of fresh herbs. I mean, I just, you know, they do make a difference. So that's how I feel about that. All right, so sage and thyme. We're going to add our apples. What was the equivalent on the apples here? Let's just check. This is a lot to remember. So, okay, 3 large apples. So pretty much we had in about 3 large apples. And again, like, okay, what kind of apples do you have? You have, you know, where did you get at, you know, when you went apple picking or, you know, at the store? Either way. It doesn't always have to be so glamorous like you went apple picking, but it's a good, you know, time to kind of use the apples. So, all right, so just a teeny bit more salt because we're going to salt as we go when you have one pot type foods. Add a little salt for the apples to help kind of release their liquid. And this is going to just continue to cook for a while. I'm going to cover it again, but I do want to talk to you really quick about the, I was mentioning to you about the garnish. So the garnish is a cider a cider crema. So what I have back here in this pot over here, this copper pot, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's a little, I can't pick it up, it's really hot, but it's about like a generous cup of apple cider, just, you know, regular apple cider that is boiling away. Okay, so it's just a nice generous boil over here. Boil, boil, boil. You know, it's like, it's going to boil down till it gets to be a syrup. And then with that syrup, we're going to add some sour cream. Okay, so that's going to be the topping for the soup. It's a really pretty color. It's going to bring a nice contrast to the color of the soup. And then we're also going to add some toasted pepitas. So you kind of get that little bit of crunch, a little bit of creaminess along with the soup. So be sure to stay tuned. Oh, and then also, yeah, let me just show you too, before I forget. So the squash here, so, you know, I peeled out the seeds. Maybe there's one couple in here, but that's okay, no big deal. Pull those out. So for the most part, you just have to kind of put your, you know, you need like a metal spoon here because it makes a difference. So you can kind of scrape out the squash that has been roasted. And the squash you could do, you know, like the day before or something. Or also, if you don't want to deal with the whole squash, you certainly could, you know, buy the squash already pre-cubed and then just season it with, again, salt and pepper, olive oil, and then a little bit of brown sugar. And then you can roast that in the pan too. So there goes our squash. And I'm going to continue to do this, and we will check back in once we've made a little bit more progress with the mixture here. It has to soften some more. Continuing along here with the butternut squash soup, we changed pots because the other one was I felt like it was going to be a little bit too small. So we have our broth and our cider here. This is chicken broth. I mean, I've done it with both. Actually, I've done it with, you know, just regular vegetable broth. I've done it with, got some skin in here still. Chicken broth, I've done both. So really, you know, kind of whatever you have or whatever you feel like you want to put in. If you want to keep it vegetarian, then you can do that as well. So we're going to go ahead and add the squash puree here. All right. That's good. I just want to kind of scrape up some of that like brown sugar, right, that we've had on the bottom here. All this goodness, you know, you kind of want all that. You don't want to lose all that. Okay. We definitely need some liquid here. I'm going to go with our cider. 1.5 cups. And here's our broth. It's a homemade broth, but you know, you can use whatever you have. Okay, so I'm gonna combine this really well. I'm gonna let it cook for a couple minutes, definitely bring it to a boil. And then we are gonna puree it, and we're gonna use the hand blender, you know, the one that we've used before. You've probably seen it. It's like a stick, like with the, you know, it's a stick whisk kind of. So you'll see that in a couple minutes. We're gonna let this cook, let it all kind of come together, and then we'll be back shortly. Okay, so we've added more broth. You know, it did call for about 3 to 4 cups, but you'll also see once we begin to puree if we're going to need to add more. So you just have to kind of be a little bit flexible. And at the same time, I do want to kind of make our cider crema. So I have some sour cream here. Good couple scoops here. Okay, and I'm going to show you. This is still pretty hot. So take a look at this. It's reduced down to a syrup. So can we see this here? Can you see how much this is of a syrup? Right, can we see that? See how that's kind of a syrup there? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that we're going to add right into our sour cream there. We're going to mix this up. Take a look at this. It's almost like icing. It's like cake icing. That's great. Let me just take a quick little. It's good. I can add a little bit more. It's like, look, it's like candy apples. Like you can use it for candy apples. Right? Okay. So that's going to be a really nice garnish. So that's honestly what takes pureed soups to the next level, I feel like, is the garnish. You go to a nice restaurant, there's, you know, they do a pureed soup. They're definitely going to give you like a really kind of, you know, thoughtful garnish, so to speak. Okay, so with the soup. Now, this is your godsend. This thing is so much easier than an actual, you know, like real blender, because most likely this would not all fit into your real blender. So it would be very difficult to, it's so many steps. It's like you have to take this and then put this into the blender and then put the pureed soup into something else, and then you have to add more to the blender. It's like a couple different steps. So honestly, save yourself, get the stick blender. Just be careful you don't lift it up too much, because especially when it's hot. So we're gonna keep going here. This is, oh, like that. Lift it up too much. Like I just did. Am I wearing it? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. But this is the idea. I don't want to have to put you guys through my pureeing here, but you can look. It's already getting there. Look, just take a quick peek. Look at that. So already getting there, right? Just keep going a little bit more. And then I'll show you when we garnish it towards the end. All right, so it's serving the soup time. We have a nice puree here. Like, you see that? I'm not getting it all over myself. Yep. All right, okay. So, a little cup here. All right, that looks good. We are going to take our little bit of the cider crema that I was telling you about. This little garnish here on the top. Swirl that in a little bit. And then we're going to take our pepitas and put those on top like that. And there you have it. So that is your butternut squash with cider crema and pepitas.